Hey, it's me, Leanne, and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. And this is kind of like an impromptu Wellness Wednesday, and it was inspired by the fact that I have a birthday coming up. You know, this year I'm going to be turning 58 on August 11th. So the name of this Wellness Wednesday is Life Begins at 58. And the reason I say that is, and I could say I wish that I knew then what I know now about life, but every little thing that I've gone through in my life has brought me to exactly this spot. You know, the fear, the disappointment, the resentments, sadness and regret, every single bit of it I'm thankful for. You know, I've had 2 failed marriages, which I completely take responsibility for. I've made some really bad financial decisions and relationship decisions, yet here I stand, right? And really, when I think about it, thinking about here I stand, I pretty much stood by and I watched my life pass me by. So I didn't really take an active part in my life. You know, and then I got tangled up with this guy that I knew 40 years ago, and he's fun and exciting, and we did a lot of really fun things together. And then it ended, and I was alone pretty much for the first time in my life. And when I say I was alone pretty much for the first time in my life, I really was. I mean, at 18, I moved in with my first husband, and then, when I left him, I moved back home with my parents, and then I moved out again, and I had a 2-year-old, and then I moved in with my second husband, and then when he left, I had 3 roommates move in. So, I've pretty much been by myself. Not been by myself my whole life, and honestly, this was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me. I mean, I do still miss him, but he really pushed me into some uncharted territory, right? So here I am in my, after moving out of my house that I lived in 20 years into my new apartment with my dog, alone in the middle of a pandemic, right? And granted, I had some really great friends and family that checked on me to make sure I was all right. And I said I was all right, but I really wasn't. I had no idea how to be, how to be anything. Most of my life, I've been a chameleon. I can morph into anything, and I really didn't know what I was without somebody in my life. So why am I sharing all this personal information? Because sometimes you have to hit your rock bottom before you start to come up. I had 2 choices. I could feel bad for myself, or I could do something. So I started to do little things. I started doing things with my friends. Like I went on a bunch of hikes up to Wachusett with some of my girls. I hiked Watadic. I did the Welch Dickey Loop up in the White Mountains with my friends Shane and Kelsey, and that was really fun. Great hike if you want to do it. I've been to East Boston camps a bunch of times with my friends and on my own. I have many miles I've put in that camp, I'll tell you. And then I bought some wheels for my kayak. I have this kayak, and I live across from Forge Pond, and I couldn't really figure out how to get the kayak over there. So I bought some wheels. I dragged the kayak over there a few times. I took the dog for a few laps on the lake. That was fun. And then I realized that I was limiting myself by doing things with people, because sometimes, or a lot of the time, it felt like people really weren't around to do things with. So it kind of left me stuck and kind of alone and not knowing what to do with myself. So what I did is I started to do things by myself. And the first real thing that I did by myself was my friend Gina told me about this place up in Groton, New Hampshire. It's called the Sculpted Rocks, and it's about a 2-hour drive up. So I put the dog in the car. I drove 2 hours by myself, which was the first time I've ever done that. Got out of the car, I had packed the lunch, walked down the rocks. It was really pretty there. Had some lunch on the rocks, walked around up in the pass a little bit, but it was getting a little bit outside of my comfort zone. So, I packed up and I brought myself home, and that was, it was really kind of fun, and I was really proud of myself, and it did give me like a little boost of confidence. And so the next fun thing I did is I packed up the dog, and I went up to, took a 5-hour drive up to Arcadia National Park for a few days by myself. So I rented a little motel room about 7 miles from the park, and we went in and out over the few days that we were there, and did some hiking. It's just so, so beautiful there. And I did go up there last year, but this is the first time that I've been up there by myself, and I did do some different things. And yeah, it was fun, and again, it was very, very empowering, and it gave me a lot of self-confidence. And since then, you know, I've been to the White Mountains a few more times by myself. I've been hiking by myself, between 5 and 10 mile hikes with me and the dog. You know, I drove up the night before, and I've slept in a little motel, little hole in the wall by myself, got up at like 7 in the morning, drove over to the trailhead and just hiked, and it's been really, really great. I like hiking by the water, just because I find it calming, and the dog can jump in and cool off, and I don't have to carry as much water, which is kind of nice. I do have, you know, a couple more things I want to do this year. I want to do the Franconia Ridge hike, and I wanted to try to hike Mount Washington as well. Just some, you know, little challenges I want to put out there for myself. I'm going camping in Connecticut with my family over Labor Day, and I actually have a site by myself. I mean, I'm next to my niece and my sister's there, but I'm on my site all by myself. And I also had planned to take a week and go down to Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. I was going to camp, drive down there by myself and camp and hike with the dog, or with friends if they wanted to come. You know, but because of the travel ban, I'm not sure that's actually going to happen. So worst case, I'll go up north. You know, I'll stay in New England. There's a lot of beautiful, beautiful places to go up in New Hampshire, and even just, you know, in Mass and up in Maine, Rhode Island, Connecticut. You know, there's many, many places to go. So the bottom line of all of this is that, and this I find very, very interesting, because I've always been so afraid to be alone. But it's like the more I do alone, the less alone I feel. And that's huge for me. I mean, that's a really, really a big takeaway. So if you find yourself feeling stuck and alone, you know, take a chance, go do some things by yourself. You know, they always say, become your own best friend, learn to like your own company. I was like, what? Why? That sounds ridiculous to me, but it's really true. It's very empowering. It gives you a ton of freedom. You know, so my life starting at 58, I feel very empowered, very happy. If I've used empowered word about 1,000,000 times, but I do. So right now, life is good, and I hope you enjoyed this Wellness Wednesday, and you have a great night. Thanks.